Attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching the Yes Network, the home of champions.
The second installment of the Subway Series brings a first-rate matchup. Pedro Martinez, a Red Sox in Mets clothing, will try to tame his tormentors. The team that has handled Pedro better than most will try to continue paternity. Mike Messina will get the familiar assignment in a game the sliding Yankees need desperately. Messina must match Pedro 0 for 0 and hope his team breaks out. The Galaxy of Stars will be like a New York roll call or the gaudy playbill of a star-studded Broadway show. Each star elbowing for positions of prominence. But it will come down to mound mastery. Two men going chest to chest for diamond dominance. It might be the Subway Series, but there will be no free rides. Yankees Mets next on Yes. Oh yeah, the Stars are out tonight. Willie Randolph makes his way in. First game as a manager at Yankee Stadium. And the Mets, led by Carlos Beltran, coming in, and that's the guy they're going to have to face. Mike Messina. Pedro Martinez, a late arrival, needed a police escort. Got here at 6:09. Subway Series is in town, and the excitement is with it. And tonight, the Yes Network presents New York Yankees baseball. The New York Mets take on the New York Yankees in the first of three here at Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Yankees baseball. Along with Jim Cott and Ken Singleton, I'm Michael Kay. This should be a fun weekend, and there's a lot riding on this weekend. Both teams need victories. The Mets are coming off winning 2 out of 3 against the Phillies, their first series win in 5 series. The Yankees, though, had won 6 in a row, Jim, and then they lose 3 out of 4 to the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. What happened?
Well, Tampa Bay came in here, and as Kenny has pointed out on the pregame, they have a lot of confidence against the Yankees, but pure and simple, the Yankees have not pitched consistently well. That's why they go on a hot streak when they get good starting pitching, and then all of a sudden when they don't, teams like Tampa Bay take advantage of that. And I think one thing we might have to see the Yankees do tonight for the first time all year is win a low-scoring game, because you don't figure to score 4 or 5 runs against Pedro Martinez, and they're 0-25 when they score 3 or less.
Now, speaking of not scoring, the Mets don't score many runs. They get pretty good pitching, but this is a team that's also trying to find its way, get its identity.
Well, the offense hasn't been there, but when you have Pedro Martinez on the mound, as Kitty said, you usually don't need too many runs to win a ball game. And Pedro has been pitching very well in the National League. He leads the league in strikeouts, so it's one thing when you have Pedro on the mound, your team automatically, their confidence goes up. I think, like Kitty said, it's going to be a low-scoring ball game tonight. You might see a bunt actually help the Bombers out tonight. Tony Womack, Robinson Cano, Derek Jeter, somebody move runners over to help score runs.
It should be fun. There's going to be a full house, and we mentioned the pitching matchup. It's a beauty. It's Pedro Martinez against Mike Messina. When we come back, an extended look at this pitching matchup. Stay right here on Yes. Not much more needs to be said. You look at the marquee, you realize the size of this matchup. The Mets are in Yankee Stadium to meet the Bombers. Tonight's pitching matchup brought to you by Infiniti, makers of innovative high-performance premium vehicles. Pretty good matchup. Pedro Martinez goes for the Mets, 7-2, 2.76 ERA, and Mike Messina for the Yankees. He's 8-4 with a 3.82 earned run average.
Well, it has the makings of a great duel, and we're going to show you why. Mike Messina's coming off 3 wins in a row. Pinpoint control. Check out Posada's glove, and I'll tell you, Messina seldom misses it. That's against the Cubs. He went 6 1/3, picked up another victory there. I said he's 3 in a row. Now his opponent, Pedro Martinez, don't be fooled by the fact that he's lost his last 2. This was on May 22nd against the Yankees. 7 innings, 4 hits, 1 run. The National League is hitting just a .172 against Pedro Martinez. Best in the major leagues. Could be quite a duel.
And the strange thing about that game, again, he didn't win. He pitches well against the Yankees, but he just has a .500 record, 10-10. You see what he's done against the rest of the major leagues, 179 and 68. He has a lower ERA against the rest of the major leagues and a lower batting average against as well. In the postseason, 6 games, 1-2, 4.72. Have we whetted your appetite? I think so. Come on back for the first pitch. Moments ago, Willie Randolph got a nice hand as he took the lineup card out to home plate. His first managerial experience here at Yankee Stadium. Longtime Yankee, and now brings in the arch rival New York Mets. So what's on that starting lineup card? Well, the New York Mets starting lineup presented by Rico. Jose Reyes, the shortstop, leads off. Mike Cameron's in right, batting second. Carlos Beltran, the center fielder, will hit third. Cliff Floyd cleans up. He's the left fielder. Mike Piazza, the DH, is going to bat fifth. And he has good numbers lifetime against the Yankees, also as a DH. Second baseman, Marlon Anderson. The third baseman, David Wright, bats seventh. Doug Minkiewicz will play first base and bat eighth. Ramon Castro is behind the plate. He'll bat ninth. So Messina is ready, and we are ready for baseball here at Yankee Stadium. Crowd still filing in, a lot of traffic outside getting to the ballpark. And the pitch to Reyes is a strike, and we're underway.
Numbers on Mike Messina this year. This will be his 16th start, 8-4 record. Pretty good earned run average, more than a hit per inning.
And the pitch is low.
Let's check out the Jeep scouting report on Mike Messina. The Moose against the Mets. He's 5-1 in his career against New York Mets. The number 9. Last year when he beat the Mets here at the stadium, his record went to 9-4. If he wins tonight, he'll be
9-4.
That's right.
Ground ball Latino, one away.
And of course he has that sharp knuckle curve to use against the young hitters like Reyes and David Wright.
Hey, New York Yankees baseball on Yes is presented in high definition where available. That's a beautiful high definition shot right there. Get the whole scope and breadth of the stadium. Here's Mike Cameron. Willie Randolph has been toying with the idea of leading off Cameron and having Reyes bat second, but today he goes with Reyes and then Cameron. Cameron has a better on-base percentage. Reyes doesn't get on base enough. There's a strike. Yankees baseball is broadcast in Spanish. It's available by hitting the SAP button on your television. SAP is brought to you by Toyota, with 17 models moving you forward.
You go back to Cameron's days with the White Sox, he had some experience leading off. It was his first club in the major leagues.
The 0-1. Just missed.
As we talked about, Kenny, before we went on the air and visiting with Mike Cameron, he's battling back from a wrist injury, and he said, I'm just kind of getting my legs underneath me. But boy, when he's healthy, he's a terrific center fielder, and he brings a nice extra dimension of speed to a lineup.
You know, one thing he did mention to me about his wrist injury, he said it's kind of a blessing in disguise, because with the wrist bothering him from time to time, he has to hit the ball the other way. He has to concentrate on more just laying the bat out there instead of whipping it through the zone. So he's become a better hitter to the opposite field. The Yankees actually play him straight up in the outfield.
2-1. Ripped past A-Rod and down the left field line. That's going to go into the corner. Played out there by Tony Womack, and Cameron is on with a one-out double.
No problems with the wrist right there.
That's like a broken record for the Yankees. They keep trying to get inside on hitters, and the hitters keep turning on that inside pitch. Like Kenny said, Mike Cameron's done a good job of going the other way, but when you get a pitch like that on the inside third, that's a hitter's delight.
14th double of the year for Cameron. So Messina will work out of the stretch. And here's Carlos Beltran. Cameron can run. Takes a good lead off second. And the pitch to Beltran is a strike. Beltran in his first season with the Mets, not having a very good year. He has 8 home runs. 7 of them, though, have been with Pedro pitching. Your only option is to pitch Pedro every day.
Kenny mentioned in the scouting report the sharp knuckle curve, and you know, I think everything works off the fastball, but Paul O'Neill made a good point from playing behind Mike Messina. He said, boy, when he's got command of his curveball, that's when he's at his best. And he's won 3 in a row, and I think one of the big reasons he has had the best curveball of the year in those 3 starts.
The 0-2. Check swing, fouled away.
And you saw this last pitch, that 0-2 pitch up and in that Beltran just tried to avoid, but it hit his bat. Another thing that Messina does with that knuckle curve, following this high fastball, sometimes he follows it with the knuckle curve or a changeup that moves down and away. Up and in, low and away, just changing planes, moving the ball around. He's a master of that, and when he's on, he becomes even more difficult to hit.
And the 0-2. Grounded foul.
You know, it's become more and more of a discussion, and even recently Joe Torre and Mel Stodham, I talked to Joe about it today, but it's something we've been watching for years up here. And there again you see Posada's target. Inside the pitch before that to Beltran, that's what you're taught as a pitcher. You throw inside to make a hitter move his feet. But to pitch inside on the plate, you have to really be accurate and have a lot on it. Hitters are just so much quicker in there.
And the 0-2. Nice block by Posada.
And I agree with you, Kitty, because sometimes it takes just 1 inch or 2 inches towards the middle of the plate, and the hitter gets the good wood on it. We saw it the other night when Giambi hit the game-winning home run. They tried to bomb him inside, and I forgot who the pitcher was, but he missed by about 2 inches. But Giambi did miss. The ball went in the upper deck.
Happened to Carl Pavano after pitching brilliantly for almost 7 innings. The same thing. Nick Green took him out. Game-winning home run.
1-2. He struck him out 2 away.
And pitchers call that the backdoor breaking ball. We'll look at the sequence. Good curve for a strike. Kind of got by with that one. Now there's the good up and in pitch. Keeps coming inside, misses with that one, and then there's what you call a backdoor breaking ball. And Messina, more than any other pitcher, can move the ball around all 4 quadrants of the strike zone and usually is very, very close to hitting the target with every pitch.
Watch the sharpness of the break on this knuckle curve. I mean, that thing was headed for the dirt.
2 away. Beltran will watch Cliff Floyd. Cleanup batter for the Mets. And he gets hit by Messina, so he's trying to come inside. And he missed too far inside rather than out over the plate. So Floyd takes first, hit by pitch.
Boy, and that's a shock to see Mike Messina hit somebody. The 4th hitter this year. That's a lot for Mike. He seldom comes in that far off the plate. And with first base open, I mean, I can't believe there's any intent there, because the guy stepping into the batter's box right now, that's what it sounded like, is you know, he'd love to be in the American League. He thrives on being the DH.
Well, he's the DH tonight. That's Mike Piazza. And as a DH in his career, 320, 9 home runs and 27 runs batted in 38 games. That's what he's done this year. And the 9 home runs, the most by a National League DH. Pitch is high, and that's probably where his future is at the end of this year. This is the final year of his Met contract. You see those numbers we just spoke about. Piazza probably ends up with an American League team, splitting time between DH and catcher. And the 1-0.
Willie Randolph mentioned that Mike Piazza will probably DH 2 of these 3 games this weekend against the Yankees. But not only a chance to use Piazza as the DH, maybe a chance to give him like a half a day off.
Surprised he won't DH him 3 games.
He said at least 2 out of 3.
He's got his good backup catcher back. Willie does. When the Yankees played over at Shea, Ramon Castro is on the disabled list. He is to the Mets what John Flaherty is to the Yankees.
There's a strike whispered across the outside corner. 2-1.
Good pitcher's pitch right there. When the count is 2-0, a big-time hitter like Mike Piazza is really looking for something he can drive, and that one was nailed on the outside corner.
And the 2-1. Foul back. Look at Piazza. He looks a little bit different than he has in most of his career. He used to have a goatee. You see him foul this one back.
It's one that, as a pitcher against Mike Piazza, you're kind of happy to get that one back. That came right back across the middle, and Messina had enough on it upstairs.
The 2-2. Slow roller to A-Rod. He fields and gets the slow-footed Piazza for the final out of the inning. So Messina works in and out of trouble. No runs a hit and 2 men left. That's nothing, and the New York Yankees coming about. Pedro Martinez took the walk to the mound from the third base dugout and was serenaded with a loud chorus of boos from the Yankee Stadium crowd. They remember his Red Sox days. Let's take a look at the Yankees starting lineup that Pedro is going to face. It's presented by Rico. The captain and the shortstop, Derek Jeter, leads off, batting second and playing second, Robinson Cano. Gary Sheffield, the right fielder, will hit third. Lifetime against Martinez, he has 3 homers, 11 runs batted in. Alex Rodriguez, the third baseman, cleans up, batting fifth and DHing Hideki Matsui. Bernie Williams in center field will bat sixth. The number 7 hitter is the catcher, Jorge Posada. Constantino Martinez back in the starting lineup. He'll be at first base batting 8th. And batting 9th and playing left field, the slumping Tony Womack.
Well, here are the numbers on Pedro Martinez. This will be start number 15. 7-2, excellent earned run average, less than a hit per inning as usual. Only 7 home runs allowed, more than a strikeout per inning, which is quite usual for Pedro. Here's our Jeep scouting report on Pedro Martinez. Well, there's a few guys who can go around baseball with one name. You say Pedro, one name, plenty game. A-Rod's another. You think back in the day, you say Gibby, Bob Gibson, you know, Reggie,
Kitty.
He leads the National League in strikeouts, and he's got a full tool belt. You ever see those handymen?
Yeah.
He's got everything you need out there to get batters out.
Boy, when you pointed out those numbers, you talk about an example of power and control. The base runners in innings pitched, and then 114 strikeouts. So you as you pointed out, you might see a bunt and a hit and run, something early on. Both these managers going to try to get on the board best they can.
Well, here's Derek Jeter. .393 on base percentage this year. Very familiar with Pedro Martinez. Pedro's been standing behind the mound waiting patiently as Jeter took his time walking into the right-handed batter's box. And there's a strike. Last time Pedro was on this mound in relief in Game 7 of the ALCS, a game the Red Sox seemed to have in hand. For some reason, Terry Francona brought Pedro in relief, and he made the game interesting for a little bit. That one's drilled deep to right center. Going back, Beltran looking up. See ya! A solo home run into the right center field bleachers for Derek Jeter. A leadoff home run. And the Yankees are up 1-0.
Well, Pedro's first pitch of the night was right down the middle, and Derek Jeter took it. And this home run pitch is just about in the same spot. He didn't take the second one. He got good wood on it. And Jeter hits number 10 on the season to deep right center field. This is his first hit this year against the Mets. He was 0 for 7 at Shea Stadium in the Subway Series in Queens.
Pitch to Robinson Cano has popped up. David Wright is right there, and he'll make the play in foul territory, 1 away.
You know, Derek in his career has hit well against the Mets. .359 coming into tonight, and .409 in the World Series in 2000.
Think back to the game that Pedro pitched at Shea Stadium. It was that first inning that he really labored, and it looked like he might not make it through 5, and then he just cruised through the next 6.
That's Jeter's 14th career leadoff home run. And the pitch to Sheffield is a strike. He's not enamored with the call. Home plate umpire is Phil Cuzzy. Pushes the envelope a little farther outside, and the count 1-1. Crowd still buzzing about Jeter's blast. That one's lined to left field. Giving chase is Floyd, and up the plate on a hop. Floyd took a very circuitous route to that ball and played it into a single.
Yeah, a little bigger left field to play here, and Cliff Floyd's in there for his bat. This was one of those that, you know, you're playing Sheffield deep. Had a little top spin on it. And in his younger days with a little more speed, Cliff Floyd put this away. But right now he makes a decision. No, we're going to play it on a hop.
Here's a look at that Yankee Stadium left field. I remember the few times that I played in left field, I did not like being over there.
Need two guys out there.
Wow, the center fielder looked like he was a day's ride away. And I knew I wasn't fast enough to cover all that territory.
There's A-Rod's numbers, putting together an MVP type season. Missed outside, the count 1-1. Has a 7-game hitting streak, during which time he's 10 for 30. There's a strike. That was odd. A-Rod dropped his hand off the bat as the pitch was being delivered.
Yeah, I wonder if he was just on the verge of calling time.
I'd have thought it was low.
And the 1-2. Missed outside with a breaking ball. Pedro really holding on to the ball in the set for a while, trying to throw off Sheffield at first.
I remember Pedro in his days with the Montreal Expos when he was a real blazer. Come over to Montreal in a trade with the Dodgers for Delino DeShields.
Two-two. Line drive, base hits to left field. Sheffield goes to second. Yankees have runners on first and second with one out. 3 hits in this first inning against Pedro.
Yeah, Rick Peterson marks it down, the pitching coach, but he doesn't have to, because as soon as Pedro threw this pitch, he went back through his pitching motion like he knew he didn't get enough break on that one. That was the classic hanging breaking ball. Wanted it low and away, and it hung right in the middle of the plate for Alex.
You know, for a hitter like Alex Rodriguez, Pedro might be thinking, I'm lucky that one was just a base hit.
Now, this is unusual in itself because Pedro's the best in the majors at 1, 2, 3 innings. He usually more than half of the time will breeze through the lineup 1, 2, 3.
He deals to Matsui. Ground ball to first. Minkiewicz thinks about second. He'll take the out at first. As the runners move up, there's 2 outs.
You know, I was thinking about Pedro's days in Montreal when he was traded for Delino DeShields. The Dodgers thought that Pedro didn't have the stamina to be a good starting pitcher, and they traded him for Delino DeShields. They needed a second baseman, the Expos, and got Pedro, where he kind of developed into the pitcher that he is now. He won his first Cy Young Award with the Expos in '97. Struck out over 300 batters that year.
Here's Bernie Williams. He's making his 13th straight start in center field. Batting in the number 6 hole. He has runners at second and third and 2 outs. Joe Torre said that Bernie's shoulders are barking just a little bit. And you'll see this swing and a miss. And he said that's not necessarily the case. He said, I just tell Joe, if they're bothering me just a bit, I won't take batting practice, but they're not bothering me enough that I don't want to play. He said, so I'll skip BP every now and then.
Bernie did take batting practice tonight, and he's actually been on a pretty good hot streak. He's 12 for his last 35. And 2 hits away from tying Don Mattingly on the all-time Yankee list.
Passed Yogi Berra just the other day. Passed him fast and furious. Pretty impressive hit list right there.
Wow.
And the next on Bernie's hit list is his batting coach. When you climb into the top 10 with the Yankees, you're going to pass names like that.
Yeah. I mean, even if he didn't pass him, to look at that and say, here I am, Bernie Williams, and I'm linked with Ruth, Gehrig, Mantle, and Mattingly. Boy, it has really been nice to see how Bernie has come up with some big hits and suddenly establish himself, you know, passing Tony Lazzeri on the RBI list.
Pedro had a little extra on that fastball in, trying to pass Bernie on the inner half after all that breaking stuff.
You know, you mentioned he doesn't have the blazer anymore, but the scouts have said it before. You can learn how to pitch hitters in the American League by just watching the way Pedro pitches. He still has a great knack of taking a little off, putting a little on, and throwing it in good spots most of the time.
Grounded to second base, took something off that one. Marlon Anderson to Minkiewicz, and that'll do it. But the Yankees do get a run thanks to that man, Derek Jeter. On an 0-1 pitch, he takes one just to the right of dead center field. His 10th home run of the year. We played one at the stadium. It's 1-0 Yankees. New York Yankees Baseball on Yes is brought to you in part by Dodge. To get anywhere, you've got to grab life by the horns. Dodge. Energy Star. New Yorkers lead the way with Energy Star. Just visit getenergysmart.org. And by Honda. See your Honda dealer and discover the great values now being offered. Another sellout crowd here at Yankee Stadium. This homestand has certainly been very good for that. The present mayor of New York City, Michael Bloomberg, in the light blue shirt, and the former mayor of New York City, Rudolph Giuliani, in the dark suit. We know Giuliani's a big, big Yankee fan. Mayor Bloomberg, I'm not so sure. He said he roots for the team that has Matsui on it.
There's only one active Matsui, though.
Yeah, right.
Pitch to Marlon Anderson is low, 1-0.
In fact, Marlon Anderson has taken over for Kaz Matsui, who's on the DL with a, I believe it's a bruised knee. He was taken out on a double play, and Marlon Anderson, who's done a good job off the bench, is now playing.
Well, they really lose a weapon when they start Marlon Anderson because he's a .433 hitter as a pinch hitter. Rick Peterson is on the phone, and you wonder, as you see some stirring in the Met bullpen right now, if something might be amiss with Pedro Martinez. Fouled away, 2-1. No one is throwing at this point out there. Would be Roberto Hernandez, a little too early for him. And the 2-1. Line drive off the glove of a leaping Tino Martinez and into right field for a base hit.
You know, one thing that Yankee fans might remember about Marlon Anderson, who just got that base hit, when he was with Tampa Bay, he wore the Yankees out. I mean, this might put him over the 400 mark as a career hitter against the Yankees. He came in at .395 in 76 at-bats. He had 30 hits against the Yankees. So he's 31 for 77.
Here's David Wright. He's having an impressive first full season. Up and down in the lineup. Bats second sometimes, seventh a lot, seventh tonight. And there's a strike.
His first game in Yankee Stadium, which we saw a lot of the Pirates and Cubs, even, you know, veterans that had been around for a long time. First time they had, because of interleague play, seen Yankee Stadium. Played here, rather.
And one such veteran on the Mets, Danny Graves, who was with the Reds for so long. First time he's ever walked into Yankee Stadium today.
By the way, that hit put Marlon Anderson at .403 in his career against the Yankees. One thing that's impressed me about David Wright the few times that I've seen him, Kitty, that you mentioned and Michael mentioned he's having a pretty good first full season. He hits the ball well to the opposite field. He has great power to right center. And when you have a young hitter who's not concentrating on pulling every pitch up there and has the ability to use just about the whole field, you've got yourself a pretty good hitter in the making. You get harder to fool as a hitter when you can hit the ball the other way.
Wright's season has been a little bit tricky for people. He's 22 years old, and they say he has a presence of a 32-year-old when he's at the plate. But when he's on the base paths, they say he has the presence of a 12-year-old. So there's a 20-year swing there.
That's not surprising to hear. A nice chat with a couple of Willie's coaches, as well as Willie today, and that's Sandy Alomar, father of a couple of great big league baseball players. And we were saying the very same thing. With all the athletic ability and the talent that's around in the major leagues today, one of the skills that is really doesn't measure up to their ability is base running. And like Sandy has said, you know, when he played in the minor leagues, I'm sure for Kenny and myself, we didn't have a lot of coaches. You didn't have pitching coach. You didn't have anything. I mean, sometimes your trainer coached first base. You just learned how to play on your own. Now, every time a guy gets on base, he's looking for the coach to tell him what to do. He never really develops the instincts. Probably the exception in the ballpark tonight for that is Derek Jeter. You know, you'll see Derek on first base and that ball's hit. He doesn't need a coach. He knows exactly where all the players are, where the infielders have been, and what to do. But he's the exception, not the rule.
It's one reason why he's leading the American League in runs scored.
Runner goes. Pitches outside. No throw needed as Wright walks, and Anderson moves to second. It is television's most explosive and critically acclaimed show, and get ready as it returns for a second season on FX. Rescue Me stars Dennis Leary as a New York City fireman who always seems to find trouble in the station house and at home. In the sixth inning, we'll have a special sneak peek of Rescue Me. New episode Tuesday. Here's Doug Minkiewicz. Brilliant defender, but boy, has he struggled offensively this year. To the point that the Mets actually have to start looking to maybe bring in somebody to play first base if they make a trade. Squares the bunt, takes a pitch high.
This has made doubly difficult for Minkiewicz to advance the runners with Mike Mussina on the mound. It's excellent fielder. You know, Tino Martinez, you got a first baseman, will make the proper decision if the ball is bunted in his direction. And we all know about A-Rod's quickness at third. So there are three tough defenders to try and advance the runners.
And that's a nice bunt. That's going to be a base hit. And it is. The bases are loaded.
You could chalk that hit up to the modern baseball fields. Years ago, for drainage purposes, the infields would slope, and that ball would have trickled foul, but not here. I mean, he deadens it. The play the Yankees have on is A-Rod retreats to third, and Mussina to get over there. But as good a fielder as Mike is, there is no way he's going to get over there and field that. That's just a perfect bunt, and it's going to stay right there.
You notice how the bat head was above the ball, so you can drop the bat head onto the ball and deaden it. And as Kitty said, it's a perfect bunt.
Here's Castro. And he swings and lost one to deep right, backing up Sheffield. He'll make the play on the run. Tagging is Anderson. He'll score. Wright advances to third. It's the perfect sac fly. You go to right field, the run scores, and the runner at second gets the third. The game is tied at 1.
Sheffield retreating, and quickly will get the ball back in. And Ramon Castro has picked himself up, not only advanced the 2 base runners, he picked himself up and run batted in as Anderson came in to score.
So the anatomy of a rally against Mike Messina. Anderson singles off Martinez's glove, a walk to right, Minkiewicz a bunt single, then a sac fly. Back to the top of the lineup, and Reyes pitches high.
It's one of those situations, I think, back to Billy Martin when he had a young player like this and Billy was managing. He'd give you one swing, and now since the Yankees are playing they're playing for a double play. They're playing double play depth. And the way he can run, they're not going to do that. But if he just drags a bunt past the pitch, he's going to stay out of the double play and get a run home.
And the count 2-0. It's 1-1. Then the Mets have runners on the corners with 1 out. Willie Randolph managing his first game at Yankee Stadium. And he played under Billy Martin. Foul back, 2-1.
Well, the other night we saw Carl Crawford hit into 2 double plays.
Yeah. I mean, that swing there is the indication of a young hitter. I mean, he's ahead in the count 2-0, a hitter's count, and yet he took a real defensive swing on a, when he gets more experience, he's in that count, he's going to say, well, look, if that ball's not middle in where I can handle it, I'm going to take it.
High fly ball, right center field. Converging Bernie Williams in Sheffield, and the ball is dropped by Bernie Williams. Wright will score, advancing to second is Minkiewicz. It's an E8, and the Mets lead 2-1. You can see confusion between Bernie Williams and Sheffield. Bernie Williams finally got there and simply dropped the ball.
Tough couple of days for Bernie in the outfield. Here's what Michael's talking about. Of course, Bernie's the quarterback. He takes charge, and that's just a case of trying to throw it before you caught it, taking your eye off the ball. Yesterday he got caught napping. He didn't get to a ground ball quickly enough. That was just, he was in position. He just simply missed the ball.
That will be a sacrifice fly for Reyes and an error on Bernie Williams for allowing him to reach base. So no time at bat.
Pitch to Cameron. Boy, Mike Messina's going to look around and go, what did I do wrong this inning?
Well, of course, Mike, as sharp as he's been the last 3 outings, has labored. I mean, he walked David Wright. He's not been as sharp as a pitcher early on.
And the 1-0. There's a strike.
Saw that look on Joe Torre's face, and Joe said before the game, I come to the park and I don't really know who we are. You see a different Yankee team every day. I mean, you've seen Mike Messina on a roll, and you look for a pitcher's duel. Now all of a sudden tonight you're seeing a different Mike Messina. You get a little sloppy play in the field.
Count 1-2.
It's one thing you don't want to do against somebody like Pedro Martinez. You get the lead against him, you want to keep the lead because it might be difficult to get any more runs against him.
Cameron doubled inside third in the first inning, and they tried the pickoff. It gets away, and Minkiewicz is going to go to third. The throw by Jeter is not in time. That's gutsy base running by Minkiewicz and heads up base running by Reyes.
A rare error by Mike Messina. I don't know if he's tried to pick off play yet this year. You got to have quick feet and a quick pivot. And Mike didn't quite get himself in position to unload it as quickly. You see Cano right there had to reach into the runner to try to block the ball. And Jeter with a desperate throw to Alex, not in time. The error charged to Messina.
Yankees, of course, will play the infield back, so a ground ball, and the Mets will get another run. A single with Reyes' speed, they probably get 2. Messina would love the strikeout to count 2-2. Carlos Beltran on deck. Two.
The other thing both managers are looking at here, and I talked to Willie about it before the game, we know from following Messina, is that I would say these two pitchers for 100 to 110 pitches can be as good as anybody in baseball. But from then on, their effectiveness kind of goes downhill. Right now, you're seeing Mike really get his pitch count up early in the game, which spells a shorter outing for him than normal.
This will be his 43rd pitch, and we're 1 out into the 2nd inning. 2-2. Cameron making him work. And that clicker is spinning. 25 strikes out of the 43 pitches.
That's not a Messina-like ratio.
Two. Lofted to right field. That'll get another run in. And Kavich tags. He'll score. Reyes goes to third. So does the throw. It's not in time. A sac fly for Cameron. And the Mets lead the Yankees 3-1.
Mets have actually done a pretty good job this inning of situational hitting. 3 times they've delivered a sacrifice fly to get a run home. So all 3 runs have scored on sac flies.
And again, talking with the Mets coaches before the game, this is an area that they have not been productive in. This has been one of their downfalls. Get them in scoring position, don't advance them or come up with a sacrifice fly or a productive out, but they certainly have done that tonight so far.
I would think that it's either a record or has to tie a record. 3 sac flies in 1 inning.
Just when you think that, it becomes something off the charts.
Three sac flies.
The drop ball by Bernie is a sac
that's
fly.
right. That's right. I was going to say, how could, because the third out you wouldn't get a sacrifice fly, but yeah.
We got to check with our buddies at Elias, but I think they're checking right now as we speak. One. Beltran pops it up. This will finally end the inning. Jeter is there, and he puts it away. But a very, very sloppy inning for the Yankees. 3 runs, 2 hits, 1 error, and 1 man left. That 1 error, right there, Bernie Williams dropped it. 3-1 Mets lead. Ralph Kiner actually working with a young Ken Singleton.
Much younger.
Man. Sleek.
That was down in the instructional league. What year was that? That was
38? No.
No. Wasn't that long
70.
ago. It might have been 70 in the instructional league.
Wow. And that's before, heading into the weight room, man. That's that's good home cooking. That's Al Lang Field in St. Petersburg, Florida. Right.
And that particular day, I played in the instructional league game, and I hit a home run. That's what I'm talking about.
What a good pupil.
1-2, strike 3. A backdoor breaking ball. Posada not in love with the call, but Pedro punches him out. 1 away.
Perfect sequence. You saw Pedro, and the difference now, what we're seeing between Pedro and Mike Messina, and it's been that case all years. After Pedro comes inside, you can kind of get an idea of why Posada's upset with that call. That certainly looked like it did not catch the corner of the plate. But when Pedro comes inside, it's usually off the plate where you can't hit it. He uses that pitch to set up the outside pitch.
Tino swings and misses.
You know, they always talk about Pedro's fastball, but his changeup is one of the best in baseball, too.
He is not, and that's hard to even say when you look at his strikeouts and his effectiveness. You know, pitching in the National League now where they don't have as deep a lineups, but it's hard to say he's not as dominant because he still is. But he's just a great pitcher. Whether he throws it, you know, 98 or 89, he has the ability to vary his speeds and his location.
2-1. 2-2.
Every hitter he's faced, there's been a first pitch strike.
You usually don't see changeups inside, but you saw one right there.
Well, you know, Tino's a high ball hitter. He moves the ball around the zone.
Ground ball right side. Anderson 2 away.
And just to show you a difference, and it's been like a broken record, but I'll tell you, it is all the talk around baseball is you're taught to throw inside off the plate, but not give hitters pitches on the inside part of the plate that they can hit. And it's happened in this, and it already has happened tonight. 2 instances: the Marlon Anderson single and the Reyes sacrifice fly.
Pitch to Womack's a strike. Womack has really been struggling. 5 for 25, 7 for 49.
Whew. High cheese.
And higher cheese as Womack goes down on strikes. A 1-2-3 inning for Pedro Martinez. A long time ago in a place far away, a man learns how to eventually be a broadcaster. We'll be back.
Both of them.
Overhead look at the great ballpark in the Bronx and a direct look at the Coors Light scoreboard. Mets lead 3-1 as we head to the top of the third. Cliff Floyd leads off.
Here's the McCarty scouting report on Cliff Floyd. Sweet home Chicago. He was born in Chicago, grew up in South Howland, Illinois, where he was a big two-sport star at Thornwood High School. Expos #1 draft pick back in 1991. And in 2001 had 31 home runs for the Marlins. That's his career high. That might be going out the window this year. He's already hit 17 this year.
For a while, the Mets actually led the National League in home runs, which is very odd for a team that plays half of its games at Shea Stadium. But they have really struggled offensively. That one's hit deep to right field. There it goes. See ya. Into the old Yankee bullpen in right field. A solo shot for Floyd, and the Mets lead 4-1.
Well, back in the day when Cliff came to the major leagues, I was broadcasting Expos games, and I got to meet his parents in Chicago, and he said they are here tonight at the ball game.
And unfortunately for Mike Messina, Cliff is here too.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at him and you think what might have been, except for the injuries. This guy not only had power but speed, and it's unusual to see Mike Messina miss the target. You see that pitch designed to be low and away, and Moose left it over to the center of the plate, and in a 2-0 count, Floyd took care of it.
Mets now have 44 home runs in their last 44 games. High fly ball left field. Womack is there. 1 away.
That was unusual for Mike not getting that pitch away. But here we're going to look at the first inning. You see him shake his head. See Posada's target? Now, I'll guarantee you that two guys in the studio, David Justice and Bobby Mercer, and one sitting next to me right here, would love to get these pitches from a right-hand pitcher. Inside strikes where you can get the barrel on it. And this is one he just left over the center. But the Yankees have just been getting killed on those pitches that they try to get inside and leave out over the plate, which we've talked about ad nauseum, that it points out why down and away is the best pitching zone. And it's been interesting the last few days even to hear Mel and Joe tell you, I don't know what we're doing coming in these situations. They don't call pitches from the bench in the big leagues.
Count 2-0 to Anderson. That one is lined to right field. Backing up is Sheffield. A little hop there at the end to haul it in. 2 away. Another well-hit ball.
Well, look at Chef. Maybe the ball had a little more giddy up than he thought, and rattles around in his glove, and he holds on to it. I mean, Chef uses one of the biggest gloves I've ever seen out there in the
like a high-rise cesta. You know, the Don Mattingly wind indicator that we show you quite often, that bat will tell you that's pointed out a little toward the right field corners. It's an indication of it carrying that way.
Here's David Wright. Now, we mentioned the 3 sac flies the Mets had in the second inning. That is a new National League record. It ties a Major League record, which is held by 3 separate teams in the American League. 1962 White Sox did it on July 11th. And get this, the 2000 Yankees did it twice. They did it on June 29th of 2000 and on August 19th of 2000.
So it had to be the same situation, right? Somebody would drop it because
it's the only way, right?
Right. I mean, you can't get that third out. Can't be a sacrifice fly.
Just missed.
Seen a little discouraged with the call on that last pitch.
And you can bet Jorge is saying something to him because he got called out on a questionable pitch. And we talked about this before, that nobody questions close pitches more than Mike Mussina, because usually he's right on target. You know, he either hits the target or he just misses. And that one, Phil Cuzzy said, just missed.
Wright walked in the second inning. Came around to score. The 2-1. Grounded foul outside of third.
You know, Wright's 34th walk of the year. That actually leads the Mets. That is very unusual for a young hitter.
Two. Strike 3. Right down looking. So that'll do it in the third inning for Mike Mussina. Although he gives up a run on 1 hit. And Cliff Floyd goes yard. Pitch stayed out over the plate and went back into the old Yankee bullpen in right field. We go to the bottom of the third. 4-1 Mets. New York Yankees baseball on Yes is being brought to you in part by the New York State Smokers Quit Line. Call 1-866-NY-QUITS. Toyota with 17 models moving you forward. And by Heineken. It's all about the beer. Heineken. Derek Jeter leads off, and he fouls back Martinez's first pitch.
10 for 10, first pitch strikes. Of course, that's what he started Derek out with last time, a strike and then a home run.
Coors Light scoreboard, 4-4-0 for the Mets and 1-3-2 for the Yankees as we head to the bottom of the third inning. check swing.
You're seeing an example of the intelligence of Pedro Martinez as a pitcher. You see with Womack, he got him to swing at a high strike, and I've heard Pedro use this expression in pitchers in the past too. He said, you'll throw high and then higher than high, or go right up the ladder. And those are inside, but they're up and in where you can't get the barrel to them. I mean, he can move that ball around that strike zone as well as anyone with a variety of pitches, which is, I guess, why they're hitting 172 against him, and he's got the numbers that he has.
I don't think Derek has seen anything off speed in this at bat as of yet. And I would think Pedro would want this pitch to be the pitch of decision.
2-2. And the count full. And the 3-2 missed outside, so Jeter works a walk to start off the third. Pedro's first walk of the night.
Appears that Derek gained a little respect after that home run in the first inning. The count was 0-2 if I wasn't mistaken, and he ran it to 3-2 and drew a walk.
And in these delicate days of pitch counts, you know, that becomes important because Pedro's got a 4-1 lead, and you know he'll be out there for maybe 100, 110 pitches, and that's it. So the Yankees, that's how they've beaten him in the past. Not beating him, but the teams he pitches for, is to make him work early.
Here's Robinson Cano. Thinks about bunting, but takes a strike. Cano has an 11-game hitting streak working. Fouled out to right in the first inning.
Have we seen Cano bunt for a base hit this year?
I don't think so.
I can't remember.
That was a good idea there. You know, down 3.
We've seen him try to sacrifice. He is not a great bunter. Remember, in the minor leagues, he was such a good hitter. He was batting third with Columbus before he was called up, so he wasn't called on to bunt a lot. He's had one sacrifice this year.
Well, I'm not so much thinking about the sacrifice as I am bunting for a base hit.
Right.
I mean, David Wright is the rookie third baseman. He leads the Mets in errors with 11, and you can see he's beyond the bag at third. They might creep in a bit. Forget about the bunt. It's now 0-2.
You know, I don't know in these days of video whether hitters of the past have put them out, but I'll tell you who could make a great instructional video on bunting for base hits: Rod Carew. And we've talked about the comparisons with Robinson Cano and Rod Carew. Boy, you can pick up about 25, 30 hits a year. I know you wish you could have done that.
Yeah, well,
Slow tapper toward third. Going to be a tough play. Right field's Fiers got him.
You know, you figure if you did go 2-3 games and where you're a little slump, you know that bunt's going to put a hit on the board.
You know, and I also think if you had the ability to run and lay down a bunt, if I had that ability, you'd get better pitches to hit too.
Sure.
Because here's Cano, and this ball's a little bit too close to first base. If it was a little further down the line, he might have had a chance. But David Wright's up with it, throws over to Mankiewicz for the out. But Jeter moves down to second.
So Cano is 0 for 2, and that'll bring up Sheffield. Sheffield blooped a single to left in the first inning. Whew. A little bit more than a bloop in mine right there.
Strength to strength.
Well, we just saw the finals of the NBA last night. That was a little one-on-one right there.
You can see Jeter in the back of your picture there. When he gets on second, you know, and Derek is such a great base runner. He not only looks at the outfielders, but the infielders. He'll look around where everybody's playing. So when the ball's hit, that gives him a sense of whether it's going to be at somebody or in the hole. He's his own coach. Good for young baseball players to watch.
Things got a little hairy last year between Pedro and Sheffield. He hit Sheffield, and Sheffield stared out at him and said, no, not me. Anybody else, but not me. Don't mess. Pedro's only hit one batter this year with the Mets.
I think he hit 16 last year in the American League.
I think he has to bat this year.
Oh, yeah. Facing the music is a whole different story.
Chop to third, right fields. 2 away. Let's take a look at the Yankees' upcoming schedule, brought to you by McDonald's. I'm loving it. Tomorrow at 4:05, we have the game right here on Yes. Then we turn it over to John Miller and Joe Morgan on Sunday, and ESPN will do the honors. And then the Yankees move to Baltimore to meet, right now, the first place Orioles. Monday's game is on Yes. Tuesday's game will be on UPN 9, and then Wednesday's game also on Yes. All the games on Yes, half hour prior, except for tomorrow. We'll have our pregame show. Pedro Martinez has been perfect with first pitch strikes, 12 for 12. Let's see if he follows that trend against A-Rod. The reason we don't have the pregame tomorrow is because that's in the Fox window from 1 to 4, but we will have our postgame show on Yes after tomorrow's game. The 0-1. Count 0-2.
You know, people might wonder, why is it so important to throw that first pitch strike? It has been proven over the years that when a hitter is behind on the count for that first pitch, batting averages significantly drop. They go down. The pitcher has the advantage. The hitter is more on the defensive. So the ability to get that first pitch in there in a good location, because if you throw one down the middle, they're going to hit it. So Pedro's done a good job of throwing the good spots on that first pitch to each hitter.
Grounded right back up the middle and through for a base hit. Jeter rounds third. He'll score. It's an RBI single for Alex Rodriguez, and the Yankees now trail 4-2. A-Rod's 2 for 2 against Pedro.
Yeah, and a good approach. Just takes it right back up the middle. Didn't try to do too much with it. It's a ball that Pedro probably feels he should have been able to flag down. Didn't get leather on it, and the Yankees get one closer.
For Rodriguez, is 64th ribby. Here's Matsui. A-Rod goes. It's a strike. The throw to second is not in time. Ball gets away from Reyes, but Rodriguez stays right there.
Boy, that's good anticipation by A-Rod. You get on base, and he got a perfect pitch to steal on. Pedro threw him an off-speed pitch. Nice effort by Castro to try to recover. Couldn't get it there in time, and now the Yankees have run number 3 in scoring position.
Some great camera work right there.
Count levels at 1-on-1 on Matsui. Grounded out to first in the first.
Depending on the respect Pedro has for either Hideki or Bernie, right now with first base open. And if he's followed the papers lately, he knows how Matsui is hit with runners in scoring position. So it looks like he's pitching a little cautiously to him.
It's all or nothing for that outside corner right now. Either he hits the corner or the ball is going to be outside.
And that's outside, so the count 3-2. First base open, Bernie Williams on deck. A-Rod checking the outfielders. Three pretty good arms out in the Met outfield. And Matsui walks.
You know, there's the respect that Kitty was talking about. A 3-2 changeup to Matsui. And we talked about how hot Matsui has been. Bernie Williams has been swinging the bat pretty well, too.
And I tell you, Bernie relishes this situation. He knows he dropped a very easy fly ball to allow the Mets to score an extra run, so he's got a chance with one swing to get it all back.
This copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the New York Yankees and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the aforementioned New York Yankees. Williams grounded to second in the first with runners on second and third. There he takes a strike. Pedro has started every Yankee hitter out with a strike tonight.
He got that knee-high zone locked in, doesn't he? I mean, it is right at the knees.
15 for 15. Count 0-2.
And very little anybody could have done about that, Bernie. That was just filthy.
Swing and a miss. Blows a fastball by him, and that'll do it for the Yankees in the third. But they score one run on one hit. No errors, and two men left. He goes up the ladder with Bernie, and Bernie's the one who falls. We go to the top of the fourth inning. Mets 4, Yankees 2. Whenever the Goodyear blimp is flying above a stadium, you know it must be a big game. Tonight, it's the spirit of Goodyear providing these high-definition aerial views. The Goodyear blimps have been a familiar sight above big games for 80 years, and these are priceless shots of Yankee Stadium. Count 1-0 on Minkiewicz, and a grounder to first. Tino Martinez. One away. Let's take a look at the Aflac trivia question. It will have a Subway Series flavor to it once the duck brings it in. How many players on the current Mets and Yankees rosters played in the 2000 Subway Series? Piazza, Jeter, Posada, Mariano, Bernie, Tino.
Combine both teams. Combine both teams. Yeah, probably about 14 Yankees and one Met.
Count 1-1. Mike Stanton's another. Messina was not on the Yankees then. The 1-1. Count 2-1.
Moose just missing tonight compared to his last 3 starts.
The 2-1. There's a strike. Just missed outside, and the count now full at 3-2.
And Mike's the kind of guy that will stick to his plan. You know, I don't think there's any plan B. You'll seldom see him, you know, just challenge a hitter and throw it down the middle. He's got in his mind exactly how he wants to, and with his control, he can usually do it.
Strike 3, Castro down looking.
You know, you'll get a lot of games as a starting pitcher where plenty high enough and Castro gets caught looking, where you go over with the catcher before time, this is what we like to do to guys, and then you start the game and it's not working, so you just say, yeah, sit back there and let's just fire a few in there and take our chances and go to plan B. But Mike will stick right with that. Move it around, try to hit the corners, change speeds like that.
Reyes thinks about the bunt, takes it for a strike.
You were talking about Reyes' inability to draw base on balls. He's only walked 8 times this season.
Well, when your on-base percentage is about equal to your batting average, it's tough to be leading off unless you're hitting 400.
On-base percentage of .288, came into tonight hitting .268. And he's playing for a manager in Willie Randolph who walked many more times than he struck out in his career. And Willie was a good leadoff hitter. He made a lot of contact and was a tough out in clutch situations because you knew he was going to put the ball in play. Back with the Yankees in the late 70s and the early 80s.
The Mets say there's a delicate balance. They'd like Reyes to be more selective, but they don't want to push the issue and then take away his aggressiveness at the plate.
You know, that might be why the Pirates traded Willie. If you think of the Pirates in the 70s, I mean, if they took 2 pitches in a row, they had a bug in their eye or something. I mean, they just swung all the time, and here comes Willie. He gets traded from the Pirates because he's a patient hitter.
Chopped to third. A-Rod waits, fires, uses the arm, and just gets Reyes flying down the line for the final out of the inning. So after the Floyd home run, Messina has recovered and retired 6 in a row, 1, 2, 3 here in the 4th. We'll find out the Mets and the Yankees that played in the 2000 series that are still on the active rosters in the bottom of the inning. It's 4-2 Mets. Welcome back to Yankee Stadium. It's the river that separates these two teams, the Mets and the Yankees. Yankees are hosting the Mets on this side of the river, and Jorge Posada will take a pitch outside 1-0. That's the first batter that Pedro has started out without throwing a strike. Bottom of the 4th inning, Mets lead the Yankees 4-2.
Why take him out? He's getting wild.
4-4-0 Mets, 2-4-2 for the Yanks. Hit sharply to Minkiewicz. A Gold Glove first baseman flips to Pedro, 1 away. Let's take a look at that Aflac trivia question. How many players on the current Mets and Yankees rosters played in the 2000 Subway Series? The answer is Jeter, Martinez, Piazza, Posada, Rivera, Stanton, and Williams. So just 1 Met. 6 Yankees. They've turned over the rosters. Tino Martinez swings at the first pitch, lofts a deep fly ball to right center. Beltran is there. 2 away.
Michael, you pointed out that Doug Minkiewicz has been a Gold Glove first baseman in the past, and I think his added importance to a club like the New York Mets, where you have a young third baseman, a young shortstop. You have Kaz Matsui, who when he's healthy plays second base, and he's switching from short to second. So to have a first baseman with the ability and the agility of Minkiewicz is very important. You're not going to get all these great throws over at first base, and he can make all the plays and dig them out.
Well, the way he's hitting, he definitely has to flash the leather this year.
You got to play some first base when you're hitting 215.
Willie agrees.
And Kitty talked about, in Minnesota, they knew that first base is a power position. They went for Justin Morneau as opposed to Doug Minkiewicz. Minkiewicz making a lot more money than the young Morneau. Morneau's got a lot more power.
Yeah, the offseason there was talk about the Mets getting Delgado, but even though Minkiewicz isn't hitting, I think what Kenny said points out he's really more valuable to pick up their bad throws with their young infielders than Delgado would be. Thinking might be that Delgado would have hit enough to make up for that.
Wright already has 11 errors. Womack reaches out and taps it to shallow right. Cameron. And a 1-2-3 inning for Pedro Martinez and the Mets. Let's head to the fifth here at Yankee Stadium. New York Mets 4, the New York Yankees 2. You're watching, yes.
At night's end. Now let's get you back to the Bronx.
Thank you, Bob. April 23rd was the last time that the Orioles were not in first place. The Chevy scoreboard has the Mets leading the Yankees 4-2. And Mike Cameron will lead off against Mike Messina. Messina knows he has to keep it here at 4-2 because Pedro looks pretty sharp tonight in the count 0-1. Cameron doubled and had a sac fly. The double was inside third. The sac fly was to right. Mets GM Omar Minaya has been getting a lot of calls about Mike Cameron. Cameron was signed with the Mets as a center fielder, but once they got Beltran, they moved him over to right. He wasn't elated with that move, and there's Omar in his first full year with the Mets as their general manager. He'd been an assistant GM with them for many years before moving to Montreal. But as of this point, he's held off on all offers and said the Mets plan to have Cameron in their future.
Well, Cameron won a couple of Gold Gloves in playing center field back in 01 and 03 for the Seattle Mariners. And in 2000, he finished 4th in the voting. He missed by 1 vote of tying the third outfielder, and he might have had 3 Gold Gloves.
Yeah.
If they were willing to put 4 outfielders out there.
Paul O'Neill made a good point the other day when we were talking about how Gold Gloves sometimes aren't that fair. You know, you get 3 Gold Gloves voted in the outfield, and sometimes it's 3 center fielders, and they're 3 distinctly different positions.
Exactly. Yeah, that might be a thing they ought to clarify, because it's a whole different skill playing right field than center field, and left field as well.
The 0-2.
Now, if you want to just say the 3 best outfielders get Gold Gloves, chances are they're always going to be center fielders, with the exception of a guy like Ichiro. He could probably play center too if he had to.
Or back in the day, Ricky Henderson would have played left field.
And the 1-2. Grounded to short. No worm burner. Jeter fields across the diamond. 1 away. Dennis Leary stars as a New York City fireman who always seems to find trouble in the station house and at home in the FX hit series Rescue Me. It's television's most explosive and critically acclaimed show, and it returns for a 2nd season on FX. Stay with us until the 6th inning when we'll have a sneak peek of Rescue Me with a new episode Tuesday. Pitch to Beltran outside 1-0. Beltran's 0 for 2. Struck out, popped to short. That one's drilled deep to right field. Sheffield doesn't move. See ya. Solo home run for Beltran, and the Mets lead 5-2. That's his 9th home run of the year and his 8th with Pedro Martinez pitching.
Got a hanging breaking ball. Mike just not shy. I mean, that curveball, as Kenny pointed out in the scouting report, has been so sharp the last few starts, but not tonight. You know, back in the days before everybody made a lot of money, you'd have little deals with hitters or fielders or something. You say, hey, you hit a home run when I pay, I'll take you out for dinner or something. Now, you know, maybe a guy will buy him a restaurant.
Floyd fouls it away. Do you know, Kenny, that in 1 year you hit 15 home runs for Mike Flanagan?
See, these are the knuckle. That's true. That's very true. Knuckle curveballs in the first inning, and then there's one this inning.
Yep.
And you can see the difference in the location. 15 home runs. I think it was 1979. Flanagan won the Cy Young. I had my best home run year, and 15 of them were in games that he started.
Pop to center field. Bernie battling it and makes the catch. Looked like he was dancing on ice.
Boy, and he almost slipped. I think right now it's that time of the night. You know, it's not completely dark, and that thing had some hang time. Maybe Bernie took his eye off it for just a second. Tony Womack trying to relocate it. Where is it? Up there it is.
Isn't all that windy out here this evening. Bernie made almost a direct right angle after that ball.
Here's Mike Piazza, and the pitch is inside 1-0.
Yeah, after hitting all those home runs for Mike Flanagan that year, the first time I ever met his father, Mr. Flanagan said, "Nice to meet you, Ken, and by the way, thanks for hitting all those home runs for my son."
As it was happening, were you aware?
No, I found out at the end of the year that it did.
Well, Beltran has certainly been made aware of it. And has become a running joke, the 2-0. There's a strike. Ironically, the two Mets' big free agent signings over the winter.
Well, with the score right now, 5-2, the anticipated pitchers duel. You know, it's not a low-scoring game. And from the Yankee standpoint, it's just really a question of how economical Pedro can be, so that eventually it'll fall on the shoulders of the Mets bullpen, as it usually does. I mean, these two guys have hooked up a lot, Messina and Pedro, and Mike has had the best of it because usually the Yankee hitters get Pedro out late in the game, and the bullpen isn't able to hold the lead.
Two-two. Drilled to left field. Does it have the height? No, it's off the top of the wall. And Piazza is going to get it into a double as Womack misplayed the carom. Just missed a home run.
That one had some top spin as it left the ballpark, or almost left the ballpark. Just a hair on top of it, and he might have had yet another home run.
Another example of Moose just does not have the command or the sharpness on that breaking ball tonight.
A cannon off the cannon side. And a tough carom off the cannon side. So a double for Piazza, his 17th of the year. And there's Marlon Anderson. Messina here in the 5th inning is about to throw his 90th pitch. And he throws it low. Missed outside, the count 2-0. Lays one in there, the count 2-1.
Mets are trying to buck the trend. Their problems have come on the road this year. They're only 13-22 on the road. They've got a winning record over at Shea Stadium.
There's a ground ball grabbed there by Cano. He's going to flip it to Messina, who just beats Marlon Anderson for the final out of the inning. Anderson does not agree with the call. Has a couple of words with Ed Rapuano. So you score that a 4-1. You also score it 5-2 Met lead. The 5th run, Carlos Beltran. And he belted one into the lower stands and right. Second home run allowed by Messina is 5-2. Hey, let's take a look at tomorrow's starting pitchers, brought to you by Verizon Online DSL. Now twice as fast as before. Tom Glavine does not throw hard. Fastball about 87 miles an hour. Sean Henn does throw hard, just sometimes doesn't know where it goes. That's the pitching matchup tomorrow. A 4:05 start. We'll have that game right on yes. Derek Jeter leads off, and he gets led off with a strike from Pedro Martinez. The Chevy scoreboard has the Mets leading the Yankees 5-2 as we head to the bottom of the 5th. Ground ball in the hole, backhanded by Reyes. Off balance throw. Infield single for Jeter.
Here's an example of what I was talking about. Reyes really shouldn't throw this ball over the first base, and Minkiewicz, realizing that he didn't have a play, comes off the bag to haul down an errant throw. When you go this far in the hole, I don't think I've ever seen anybody throw out Derek Jeter on a play like that. As fast as he runs and as hard as he hustles, he's going to come up with the infield hit. And you see Minkiewicz right away pointing to second base. Somebody covers second.
Here's Robinson Cano. Cano's 0 for 2. We told you he's carrying an 11-game hitting streak into this game. That's line to right field. Giving chase is Cameron. He makes a nice sliding catch. Tries to double up Jeter, but to no avail. Cameron took an extra base hit away from Cano.
Well, I tell you, you might think twice about trading a guy who was a Gold Glover in center field, because there's not a lot of right fielders that get to that ball. Again, a very impressive at bat by Robinson Cano. I mean, he does it the first good pitch he sees, he lets it go. I would imagine Kenny in right field, not only the sliding grab, but he probably had to battle the lights a little bit on that as well.
It's one thing you really don't have to deal with very often in center field.
Here's Sheffield. And there's a strike. $20 for 21. First pitch strikes.
And if you went back and looked at the 21st pitch strikes, the reason first pitch strikes, as Kenny said, you don't just lay it in there, but the advantage the pitcher has is, you know, when you step in the box and you say, well, this guy's got 4 pitches, there's still a little element of doubt what's going to come on the first pitch. Now, once it gets to 2-0 and 3-1, it cuts that down a lot.
The percentages are in the hitter's favor. But become more in your favor. Let's put it that way, because the pitcher always has the advantage, because he knows what he wants to throw and just about where he wants to throw it. And thank goodness they can't always put it where they want to throw it.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's what Paul O'Neill has noticed from being up in the booth during the Tampa Bay. He said, Tampa Bay series. He said, I was just amazed at how many times pitchers don't really get it at the target. I said, well, you know, if they hit the up and in and the low and away every time and they got their breaking ball over, I mean, the averages would be $150.
It'd be a bunch of 51-minute ball games, too.
Yeah.
Very manageable.
Very. Fly ball, right field. Giving chase is Cameron toward the line, and he makes the play right near the line for the second out of the inning. Every Yankees round tripper at home in 2005 is more than a big hit. It's a home run for kids and families across the country. That's because for each home run a Yankees player hits at Yankee Stadium, Circuit City will donate $1,000 to Joe Torre's Safe at Home Foundation as part of Samsung's 4 Seasons of Hope. For more information, please visit fourseasonsofhope.com and the updated home run tracker at YesNetwork.com. Full house at Yankee Stadium. They've had a lot of them on this homestand, as the Yankees so far have gone 7-3 in the first 10 games. A-Rod with a fly ball to right. And Mike Cameron ties a record held by many, making all 3 putouts here in the 5th inning, wasting the infield leadoff single by Jeter. We go to the 6th inning. Mets 5, Yankees 2, right here on Yes. Top of the 6th inning here at Yankee Stadium. Mets 5, Yankees 2, and David Wright will lead off against Mike Messina. Messina will throw his 94th pitch right now. It's a breaking ball strike. David Wright's 0 for 1, walked in the 2nd inning, came around to score, then struck out looking to end the 3rd. 7th batter in the Mets order against Messina. And the count 1-1. 5-6-0 for the Mets. 2-5 and 2 big errors for the Yankees. Very sloppy 2nd inning for the Yankees defensively, as the Mets put 3 on the board. And the count 2-1. It'll be Wright, Minkiewicz, and Castro here in the 6th inning. Fouled away in the count 2-2.
We saw the very respectable on-base percentage, 387 for Wright. And I did mention earlier he leads the team in walks, which is unusual for a young hitter because they usually are up there swinging and trying to put hits on the board. But he also leads the team in strikeouts, which is not so unusual.
Waited on that one and fouled it back.
Boy, he's got a nice, quick, compact swing, which should help a hitter cut down on your strikeouts, because you can wait till the last minute, recognize the pitch, and get the barrel on it. Doesn't get caught out in front too often.
2-2. Swings and misses on the high fastball. 4th strikeout for Messina, 1 away.
Best pitch in baseball, particularly with 2 strikes when the hitter's in a little bit of a defensive mode. Less reaction time, and you see Wright late on that one.
Here's Minkiewicz, and this will be the century mark for Messina pitch-wise. Pitch number 100. Here's a strike.
We talked about in the opening about how with 2 good pitchers on the mound, where a bunt might actually help out win a ball game, and it was Minkiewicz's actual sacrifice bunt that turned into a base hit in the 2nd inning that might have been one of the turning points of the ball game.
You know, we always show Mel Stoudemire with the clicker, but it seems that Mike Messina has an internal clock. When it gets to be 100, he becomes a different pitcher.
I think that's true with a lot of pitchers today. Kenny mentioned hitting all the home runs behind Mike Flanagan. Mike now an executive with the Orioles, but he was a pitching coach at one time when Mike Messina played there. He knew how meticulous Mike Messina was about the pitch count, and so Flanny went out one night and Moose said, "How many do I have?" So you know Flanny with that dry humor of his, you could imagine, and I'll tell you what he said in a moment. He said, "Well, between your side work and playing catch in the outfield, and then I've watched you play catch with so-and-so a little bit," he said, I think you're up to about 300 and some.
Grounded to second base, Cano. 2 away.
But it's, you know, there's a lot of truth in jest, because pitchers they might be very wary of pitch counts, but yet you'll see them in the outfield playing catch and throwing between starts. So, you know, if they added those up, I think one of the reasons in Mike's particular case is that he empties the vault against just about every hitter. I mentioned his plan that he sticks to. Remember, in the days of David Wells, Boomer might have a 4-pitch inning with a lot of fastballs. You'll seldom see Mike have an inning like that. It's just not his style.
The 0-1. High fly ball, right field. Sheffield's there, and he puts it away for the final out of a 1-2-3 inning here in the 6th. At the end of 5.5 innings of play, Mets 5, Yankees 2. Flies and 2 Yankee errors in the 2nd inning. The first time a National League team has had 3 sacrifice flies in 1 inning. Cliff Floyd, a solo home run in the 3rd. Beltran, his 9th home run of the year, also a solo shot, but his 8th home run with Pedro pitching, kind of amazing. Jeter 2 for 2, a home run and 2 runs scored, and he led off the game with a home run, his 15th career leadoff home run. So that's where we stand right now. The Mets lead the Yankees 5-2 in front of a full house at the stadium. Bottom of the 6th, Matsui leads off, and Pedro misses outside, 1-0.
It's unusual to say that, isn't it?
Yes.
Second time.
Matsui grounded to first and walked, and there's a strike.
And Matsui has all these consecutive games played during his career, and the effects of DHing. We mentioned it's like a half a day off.
Right.
So he might be when he returns to the outfield, his batteries will be well charged, despite the fact he's been in every game.
Fly ball left field. Cliff Floyd is there. 1 down.
They check with him daily to see, obviously he was healthy. He'd be a terrific player in the field. Looks like Tanyan Sturtz might come in to pitch the 7th, but the thing that keeps him from playing the outfield is that right ankle. If he had to make a throw, that's the ankle he would brace against, and then the chances of re-injuring it. And so staying fresh as a DH has agreed with him quite nicely.
It has posed some problems for Torrey because Torrey does want to give the guy up at the plate a day off out of the outfield, but he has very few options. And he would also like to give Gary Sheffield a day off. But without Matsui available, he doesn't really want to weaken the outfield offensively. Fly ball to left field. Floyd is there.
Well, you can say anything you want about Pedro losing his fastball and the rivalry between the Yankees and Pedro and the animosity, but I'll tell you what, if you're a young pitcher, watch him. This guy can pitch. I mean, that pitch there on the gun, 78 miles an hour. He could take a little off, put a little on. Again, like his last game against the Yankees, a couple innings early on, high pitch count, but now he's just cruising.
Looked as though he got Matsui and Bernie Williams out on the same pitch.
Pitch to Posada. 1-0.
Let's see, Bernie might remember that high fastball that he saw the last at bat, and Pedro has that knack. He remembers the pattern from the last one. Good hitters, you'll switch it up. You get a 210 hitter in there, and you probably just pitch him one way all day long. But when you're looking at a lineup of established hitters, you have to have the ability to kind of change your pattern from at bat to at bat. Pedro does that better than anybody.
Posada's 0 for 2 tonight against Pedro, and he has had very little success against Pedro in his career. He's 11 for 59. 4 of the 11, though, have gone out of the park, so 4 home runs. Grounded to first. Grabbed there by Minkiewicz, and Pedro has retired 6 in a row, including a 1-2-3 here in the 6th. We head to the 7th inning at Yankee Stadium. Mets 5, Yankees 2. Every time a Yankees pitcher strikes out an opposing batter, the Tri-State Hyundai dealers help strike out kids' cancer by making a donation to the Hope and Heroes Children's Cancer Fund and the Morgan Stanley Children's Hospital of New York Presbyterian. If you'd like to contribute along with the Tri-State Hyundai dealers, call 212-305-1420 and let's strike out children's cancer. New pitcher for the Yankees, Tanyan Sturtz, takes over for Messina.
Less than a hit per inning and good control for Tanyan. He has been bitten by the home run ball a little bit his last few outings.
He'll face the top of the order for the Mets. Jose Reyes, Mike Cameron, and Carlos Beltran. Reyes is 0 for 2. And he bunts foul and back onto the screen. The IO Digital Cable scoreboard has the Mets leading the Yankees 5-2, 6-0 for the National League New York team, 2-5-2 for the American League New York team.
Reyes does have great speed. He leads the National League in triples with 8.
That is slapped the other way, giving chase is Womack on the run. He makes the play, heading to the corner. 1 down.
Talk about strike ones. That's really what's turned Tanyan Sturtz's career around. You know, we saw him come in as a visiting pitcher in the past with Tampa Bay, and he was a little bit shy of throwing that ball in the strike zone. But I think his conversations with Mo in the bullpen and getting a few outs, some confidence. I mean, his percentage now of first pitch strikes is phenomenal.
Here's Cameron, 1 for 2, a sac fly, a double in the first inning. And there's a first pitch strike. Mets lead the Yankees 5-2. Mariano Rivera has not had many opportunities to work of late. Yankees just lost 3 out of 4 to Tampa Bay. And the one game they won, he was up, but he sat down with a 13-run 8th inning as the Yankees won 20-11.
The other thing that ties in with the first pitch strikes is that you get burned occasionally, but the percentages when a hitter opts to swing at the first pitch and put it in play, averages aren't very high at all. Always in favor of the pitcher.
Count 2-2. Sturtz throwing hard, 96 miles an hour. He has finally harnessed all that talent. Used to pitch for Tampa Bay, and it just wasn't there. Actually was let go by Tampa Bay, which really needs pitching all the time, but he has gone to Mariano Rivera University and just learned how to pitch. Trust his stuff. Imagine getting a scholarship to MRU.
I was going to say, that'd be MRU?
MRU.
Yeah. Well, you have a pitching coach on a team, but that's a good point, because on every pitching staff you probably have available, like if a pitcher wanted to talk to Mike Messina, how do you throw your knuckle curve? There's all the pitches there that you can probably learn to throw if you want to give it a try.
So he walks Cameron. One of America's most recognizable images, the blimp Spirit of Goodyear, is floating above, providing these high-definition aerial views. The Goodyear blimp has been a familiar sight above big games for 80 years. That distinctive horseshoe shape. It is the house that Ruth built. Look, now the blimp's doing analysis.
If I'm not mistaken, Yankee Stadium was the first ballpark ever built that had the name stadium in it.
Really?
Yeah,
Instead of park?
Instead of park or a field or a Coliseum, it was Yankee Stadium.
And at the time it was so mammoth, and he wanted to, Jacob Rupert wanted to outdo the Polo Grounds, so he wanted a stadium. And it is the third oldest ballpark in baseball, behind Fenway, Wrigley, and then Yankee Stadium.
Now, Beltran won the Rookie of the Year in the American League back in 1999 with the Kansas City Royals. And when you really think about it, that was sort of his swan song in Kansas City. He was going to be gone in a few years as he continued the pace to become an even better ball player, and they just couldn't afford him anymore.
There's a strike, and the count 1-2.
I mean, one thing I've always admired about Beltran was his ability to steal bases. And I think he has the highest percentage in baseball history of success. Although this year he's been bothered by leg problems, and he only has 1 stolen base. What has really cut down a big part of his game, the ability to put himself into scoring position once he reaches first base.
He has that effortless speed like Mariano does with his fastball. I mean, you look at Beltran when he's really has healthy legs, and he just glides along the ground.
Rod Carew ran like that.
Yeah.
You didn't get the impression he was really running that fast until you tried to throw him out.
And the count 2-2. That's high tech. Your own shin guard with your name on it. Can't misplace that.
And the MLB logo, I guess it's licensed. Company had to pay to use that.
Lofted into left center, giving chase Bernie Williams. He's there. 2 outs as Cameron heads back to first.
Here's Burning, and he's holding off left fielder Tony Womack, and using not only a verbal signal but a hand signal to make the play. You know, we used to teach you to use hand signals when you're driving.
Yeah.
If somebody cuts you off, then you usually use your verbal signals.
Or another hand signal.
Yeah.
Right. There's a lot of fans out there, most of them I think don't remember the days you rolled the window down, stuck your hand out, and let people know you were making a turn.
Jim, they don't remember rolling your window down.
That's right. That's right.
There's a strike to Floyd.
Hey, you know, that's why we didn't have as many arm injuries. You roll those windows down, you build up your elbows and your shoulders.
Oh, man. That's progress.
1 on, 2 outs, top of the 7th inning. Mets lead the Yankees 5-2, opening of the 3-game set at the stadium. There's a ground ball to Jeter. He'll take it himself. He steps on the bag, gets the force on Cameron, and that'll do it here in the 7th. No runs, no hits, no errors, and 1 man left at the end of 6.5. Get up and stretch. Mets 5 and the Yankees 2. While you're standing, remain so and listen to the voice of Yankee Stadium for the past 55 years, Mr. Bob Shepard, as we honor America here in the Bronx.
Please rise. And please offer a moment of silent prayer as we remember the servicemen and women who are stationed around the globe. And please also remember all of those who have lost their lives defending our freedom and our way of life. And now, please join Kate Smith as she sings God Bless America.
Studios with this Tri-State Quality Ford update. The Orioles making a comeback against the Braves. Top 5, Brian Roberts. Solo shot off Kyle Davies, his 12th of the year. Makes it a 7-5 game. So the O's chipping away. They'd like to hang on to their lead in the East because the Red Sox are charging, leading the Phils 6-0 bottom of the 8th. We'll update you on the post-game show as Bobby Mercer and David Justice join me in the studio. But now, let's get you back to the Bronx.
Thank you, Robert. Here in the Bronx, bottom of the 7th inning, and the Mets lead the Yankees 5-2, so the Yankees are going to have to rally if they want to take the first game of this Subway Series. Yankees won 2 out of 3 at Shea Stadium earlier this year, and now they'll have to do it against Pedro Martinez. The IO Digital Cable scoreboard, Mets 5-6-0, Yankees 2-5-2. It'll be Martinez, Womack, and Jeter. Beltran gets ready in center, and we are already here. And this is a 2 Martinez dinner right here. Pedro against Tino, and Tino's 0 for 2. Pedro has pitched economically tonight, just 85 pitches. Check swing, did he go? No, said third base umpire C.B. Buckner. Tino is 1 for his last 16, 4 for his last 45. Rip foul. He's been bothered by plantar fasciitis, which really is a debilitating injury, and there is nothing you can do for it except rest. And then it still takes a full year at times. Kind of the arch of the foot. That one's lined, but foul.
Yankees really haven't gotten a sequence of things going against Pedro Martinez, with the exception of the first inning when he gave up the home run to Jeter, and then the Yankees got a couple of hits. Then in the third inning, Pedro walked a couple and gave up a hit, and the Yankees scored. But outside of that, he's been in control.
And the 1-2. Line drive down the right field line, but foul. Not much room down there, but it got into the foul side of the right field line.
Again, that's reading the bat. You saw Castro go out to the mound. He threw him an off-speed pitch. Tino hit it well. So what did he do? He took more off. So you probably see this time he's either going to take a lot more off or a high fastball. You know, and that's what makes him tough to time as a hitter, doesn't it, Kenny? He doesn't throw you the same speed or the same location. You can't get comfortable.
Just missed.
Takes the eye of a seasoned hitter to take a pitch like that with 2 strikes. And then be able to see another pitch. See Castro try and bring it back in, but Tino that was just high, maybe a little outside.
Even if Tino doesn't get on here, he is taking pitches out of Pedro's arm. As Jim mentioned earlier, you get him over 100 pitchers, he does perform differently. And the Met bullpen is certainly not one of its strengths. That one's popped up, shallow left. Backing up Reyes, coming in Floyd. Reyes call, catch, 1 away.
The last complete game Pedro pitched here was an 8-inning complete game. He took the loss. He pitched well. He just gave up 2 runs. His last complete game win was a 4-hit shutout a little over 5 years ago. So again, as we saw in Shea Stadium, he just dominated the Yankee lineup. But Willie was forced to go to the bullpen, and history tells you that bullpens have not done very well behind Pedro against the Yankees.
Womack swings at the first pitch and lofts it to center field. Beltran in left center, 2 away. Hey, fans, get a second chance. See the latest game with WB Mason presents Yankees Encore. It's only on Yes. Tune in every night or the next morning at 9 for the big hits and great plays another time around. Don't miss WB Mason presents Yankees Encore. It's only on Yes. So 2 away here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Back to the top of the lineup, and Derek Jeter. Derek has been on all 3 times tonight. Leadoff home run in the first. His 10th home run of the year. He walked and scored in the third. Then a ground ball single into the hole at short in the 5th. Pedro took something off that, and the count 0-1. Pedro looking to pick up his 8th victory. He's 7-2. Came into the game with 2.76 ERA. Another good breaking ball. The count 0-2.
That's why I think he could pitch more complete games. He becomes his own relief pitcher the last few innings. Notice how different the pattern is. Derek Jeter hasn't seen 2 pitches this slow in the previous at-bats.
Tapped right back to Martinez. Guns down Jeter, a 1-2-3 inning. He's retired the last 9 in a row. You don't like to throw the word genius around in an athletic endeavor, but right there, that's the Einstein of pitching. We go to the 8th, 5-2 Mets. We go to the 8th inning. Let's take a look at the in-game box score of the Mets, sponsored by your Tri-State Lincoln Mercury dealer. 6 hits for the Mets. No one has more than 1. home run by Beltran, and a home run by Cliff Floyd. Ramon Castro with a sac fly. Piazza pops one up, shallow right. Backing up Martinez, and he makes the play. One pitch, one out here in the 8th. Rick Peterson to the bullpen. Looks like Pedro's going to pitch the 8th.
Well,
no one's warming yet.
I'd be tempted if I were Willie and Rick Peterson, the night's Pedro pitch. I'd just say, you know what? The phone's not working. We can't get anybody down there. Just stay out there. I talked to Willie a bit about that before the game, about, you know, making that decision. He said, and to his credit, he said the one thing, and Lou did this the other night and didn't change his mind. The worst thing you can do is ask a pitcher, how do you feel? Because pitcher's always going to say he feels good. And he said Pedro told him, you know, you don't have to ask me how I feel. He doesn't ask out of a game, but he said, I'll never give you any trouble when you come out to take the ball. In other words, you make the decision.
That's why a lot of managers send their pitching coaches out to make the change rather than get talked out of it.
Well, you can eliminate that. You just make the decision as soon as you step across the foul line.
Grounded through the left side for a base hit for Marlon Anderson. He's 2 for 4.
Veteran Roberto Hernandez up in the Mets bullpen.
Now, you mentioned it earlier, Kenny. The Yankees might want to take a look at picking up Marlon Anderson just to save their pitching staff.
Marlon's really the 3rd string second baseman. You've got Kaz Matsui, DL, Miguel Cairo, DL. And Anderson's on this team to be a pinch hitter, but he's playing second base, sharing some time with Chris Woodward. There's David Wright, the 2 strikeouts and the walk, also a run scored.
Yeah, I would think you might see a running game put on here. I don't know, a hit and run, because, you know, that lead has stayed at 3-2 or 5-2, 3-run lead. When you have the lead as a manager, you like to just tack on, eliminate that grand slam home run as being a threat.
And that's with 55 stolen bases. That's best in the National League. So Willie does have them running.
And you talked about Marlon Anderson and Chris Woodward, 2 players who Omar Minaya signed as non-rosters invitees to spring training. And they both made the club, and they're both making contributions. There's Chris Woodward. Last we saw him in American League, he was playing shortstop for the Toronto Blue Jays.
Runner goes. It's a strike. The throw to second is in time. Got him.
I'll tell you what, that was a good throw by Asada, because I thought that Marlon Anderson got a decent jump.
Yeah, I didn't see if Marlon Anderson looked in or not. It's a look at our Lojak caught stealing. Let's see if he looks in. He doesn't, so that tells you it's a straight steal. I'll tell you, Cano's been very impressive in getting the tag down in a hurry. He had to move ahead of the bag, catch it, and put the tag down quickly. You know, if you just put your average garden variety tag down, that's the difference between Marlon Anderson being in. But watch Cano's glove.
Looked like a matador, didn't he?
Yeah, nice. And got the tag on his back just before his hand hit the bag.
Tapped right back to Sturtz. Underhands to Tino on another good 2-inning performance by Tanyan Sturtz. No runs a hit, and because of the caught stealing, nobody left. 6 outs to go for the Yankees. We go to the bottom of the 8th. They trail 5-2. Time to take a look at the Yankees in-game box score, sponsored by your Tri-State Lincoln Mercury dealer. As you can see, the Yankees have 5 hits, 2 of them by Jeter, 2 of them by A-Rod. Gary Sheffield has the other one, and Pedro has been great. Robinson Cano trying to dunk one to right field, but a good jump and a good catch by Cameron. One away, and Cano is 0 for 4 on a night that he came into the game with an 11-game hitting streak.
You described it quite happily, Michael. A great jump by Mike Cameron, who's displaying his center field skills in right field at Yankee Stadium tonight. almost immediately at the crack of the bat, he's on the move in the correct direction and takes the proper angle and makes the play. He's got a number of putouts in tonight's game.
5 putouts for Cameron, 10 in a row for Pedro. And the pitch is a strike. And Sheffield's not liking it.
This is Cameron going back to the 5th inning, and this is Cano again. Cano to his right, Cano to his left.
High pop-up, left field. Backing up is Reyes. A long run for him, and Floyd bobbles and holds on. Reyes actually is too fast and went too far and got in the way of Floyd.
Well, he probably knows he has to do that, because if you saw Cliff lumber at that, he just doesn't have the speed anymore. You see, it looks like Floyd's going to give up on it, and he gets leather on it, and I guess that's those basketball skills. He got the rebound.
Well, if you look where Reyes ended up, he was in fairly deep left field.
You know, I think back to the days when Floyd was with the Montreal Expos. He wanted to be an outfielder. But the problem was they had Moises Alou, Marquise Grissom, and Larry Walker. So he had to spend some time at first base. There's Pedro's reaction to the sleight of hand in left field. And all's well that ends well, I guess, as far as Willie's concerned.
Speaking of Reyes going down the line, that's actually what I think helped earn a former teammate of mine, the late Zoilo Versailles, was the MVP in '65, and where he attracted the attention. Nobody could go down the left field line.
Ground ball by A-Rod, and his 3rd base hit of the night.
You mean in fair and foul territory?
Yeah, I mean, he goes so deep in the corner, but to see a shortstop with that kind of speed, we've seen Jeter do it, but years ago it was an exception. Willie checking the matchups. He did not have Ring Royce, a left-hander, on the active staff the last time these two hooked up. And Royce has sat down. That guy did. He can hit, too.
That's cool.
Hernandez is ready. He's watching now. He's been warming. There's Matsui, runner on first base. 2 outs. Matsui tonight 0 for 2. That walk in the 3rd inning.
Pedro just
hit that twice.
Pedro just trying to use his guile here in the last couple innings. I mean, I've been checking the scoreboard, and I don't think he's thrown a pitch over 82 miles an hour according to the scoreboard out there. The last 4 outs, you saw the 3 slow hooks to Jeter, but yet a hitter knows if he gets into a crunch time situation, he probably still has 1 or 2 of those 94s left that he can throw at the right time.
That one was 75 miles an hour.
I was just thinking, we've got a pair of Brooklyn high schools matching up in managers tonight. Willie went to Tilden, and Joe went to St. Francis Prep.
That one's hit deep to center field. Going back, Beltran on the track at the wall. He makes the play. Final out of the inning. Taking an extra base hit away from Matsui and gaining the approval of Pedro Martinez. Beltran, an outstanding center fielder. He showed it right there.
Yeah, he hits for him, and he also catches for him.
Hit the wall pretty hard, but he held on. Sliding down triumphantly. And we head to the 9th inning. Pedro likes what he sees. Mets lead 5-2. Top of the 9th inning. The bottom of the 8th inning ended with a great play.
Well, we've talked about how Carlos Beltran hits home runs when Pedro pitches, and here he took an extra base hit away from Hideki Matsui. That would have brought Bernie Williams up representing the tying run if Beltran had not made that great play.
So he watches from the dugout as Doug Minkiewicz will lead off, and Paul Quantrill comes on, 3rd pitcher used by the Yankees. 5-2 Mets lead. And there's a strike from Quantrill.
This is real speed. And you notice the padding give way. Years ago, there was no padding on the walls of the outfield. And I think nowadays, because of the padding, you see better catches at the wall by outfielders, because outfielders in the days gone by were kind of reluctant to crash into walls. Injure shoulders and concussions and whatever.
Now, one thing about the padding, it's better than running into a concrete wall, but it's hard because there's a concrete wall behind that padding.
But you notice that Beltran did hit his head on the wall there and still came up okay.
If they'd have had padding back in the 50s, Pete Reeser might have been a Hall of Famer, a Brooklyn Dodgers center fielder who kept getting hurt. Concussions running into the wall.
And Bobby Valentine may have been able to realize his potential as a player. Shortened his career. There you see the numbers on Quantrill. A lot of hits, not many walks.
2-2 outside.
Before I get in trouble with the Ring family, I said Ring Royce. It's Royce Ring. I just call him Rolls.
It'll be Braden Looper in the bottom of the ninth. Met closer. Popped up. Foul territory. Posada gives it a look and runs out of room. Tomorrow afternoon on Yes, the Yankees battle the crosstown rival Mets in Game 2 of this 3-game set. So you've got to join Ken Singleton, Jim Cott, and me for all the action starting at 4. It's an unusual start time, but 4 o'clock when the Yankees take on the Mets right here on Yes. And the 3-2. Sliced the other way, giving chase is Womack on the run. He can't make the play, and it bounces into the stands for a double. So Mankiewicz, who has been struggling, is 2 for 4 tonight.
Couldn't be a better situation for Willie Randolph. He gets Mankiewicz to get a double, and he's got his backup catcher there in a spot where, in all likelihood, he'll try to sacrifice him to third or move the ball the other way. It's slicing toward the line, no chance for Tony Womack, and then that side spin hop gives him a ground rule double.
Castro's 0 for 2, had a sac fly. Not bunting, and the pitch is outside 1-0.
Castro would be trying to convert his first sacrifice bunt of the year.
Does the job, doesn't get a sacrifice, but hit it the right side, and that moves Mankiewicz over to third. Nice piece of hitting, good situational hitting by Castro.
That'll force the Yankees bring the infield in with a speedy Reyes. And Quantrill not a strikeout pitcher, so it really increases his chances, just slapping it on the ground and picking up a base hit.
Yankees have double-barreled action in the bullpen, a righty and a lefty. You've got Scott Proctor, hard-throwing right-hander, and Mike Stanton, the left-hander. Reyes tonight is 0 for 3, but he has an RBI on a sac fly. Reached that inning because Bernie Williams dropped the sac fly. There's a strike. The 0-1. Lofted to center field. That will, of course, get the run in. Bernie Williams drifts back. He'll make the play. Mankiewicz tags, and he'll just lope home. It's a sac fly for Reyes. And a big run for the Mets insurance-wise as they lead the Yankees 6-2.
Job done again in a situation where you needed at least a fly ball.
Yeah, you look at the score, 6-2. It's not like the Yankees really pounded Messina around. Mike wasn't as sharp as he usually is, but 3 sacrifice flies, a couple errors, now another sacrifice fly.
Pitch to Cameron is outside.
Unusual for a National League team to come in and outscore an American League team in interleague play. American League has a big advantage because the National League doesn't have that prototype designated hitter on their roster. So for the Mets to score 6 runs here, outscore the Yankees so far, big surprise.
You know, the Mets might be in better shape DH-wise than most National League teams because Mike Piazza is a prototypical DH.
Right.
And it improves their defense behind the plate when he DHs. But Piazza, a double today. It didn't have any effect on the scoring. 1 for 4. This game's really been about Pedro and the little ball the Mets have played. The 2-1. There's a strike and the count 2-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs here in the top of the 9th inning. Mets lead the Yankees 6-2 in the first game of this 3-game set. Talk about security for the Mets. Having Pedro every 5 days and having New York's finest sitting right next to him. 3-2. Driven out to right field and deep. Going back Sheffield in front of the track. He'll put it away for the final out of the inning. But the Mets get an insurance run. 1 run, 1 hit. No errors and nobody left on base. Pedro will watch the bottom of the 9th inning from the dugout. Yankees have 3 outs to make 4 runs. Can they do it? Last licks coming up. New York Yankees Baseball on Yes is brought to you in part by the critically acclaimed show Rescue Me. New episode Tuesday on FX. The all-new 2005 Jeep Grand Cherokee, the off-road legend, continues on road. And by Avis, the official rental car company of the New York Yankees. Avis, we try harder, and the Yankees are going to have to try harder as this Subway Series Game 1, Part 2, is in the bottom of the 9th inning. And they'll have to do it against Braden Looper. So, in one way, they're thrilled that Pedro Martinez is not on the mound, but Braden Looper's had a pretty nice stretch as a Met closer.
Yeah, he has saved his last 14 opportunities. 27 games, 2-2. You can see that picked up 15 saves overall, but his last 14 consecutively.
You notice by the numbers on there, Kenny, that they're not Mariano-looking numbers. 26, and he gives up a fair amount of hits, and he's not a combination of power control, so guys make contact against him.
Here's a scouter, but he's a shocker. Met fans someone would say that's still true.
Yeah.
But he pitched for Wichita State. They're known as the Shockers.
Bernie Williams takes a pitch high.
And he was a first-round pick of the Cardinals, and he had a fantastic first impression in the major leagues. His first inning in the major leagues, he struck out the side for the St. Louis Cardinals back in '98.
Chopped to first. Minkiewicz is there, 1 away. Really had to keep it here after the last out for the Nissan postgame as David Justice and Bobby Mercer join Bob Lorenz and Kim Jones for detailed analysis of tonight's game, interviews with players, plus scores and highlights from around baseball. The Nissan postgame immediately following the game. That's right here on Yes. Well, the Yankees have an uphill battle. They have 2 outs to go. And they also are playing against history this year, at least. They are 1-33 when they trail after 8 innings. And the pitch to Posada is outside. And the only win was the Giambi walk-off home run against the Pirates.
Yeah, and it puts a little heat on the Yankees to win the next two and win the series. We pointed out before the game that all the attention is, all the news right now is kind of negative because of getting beat by Tampa Bay 3 out of 4. But yet with that 6-game winning streak, they're still 7-3. They lose tonight, they're 7-4. You win 2 more games. That's still a decent homestand. He'll pitch Sunday night.
And Posada walks on 4 pitches. Here's Tino. And there's a strike. Yankee fans might remember Looper. Some might argue that he got the biggest out of the 2003 World Series when he struck out Aaron Boone. A gigantic out with a runner at third base. Yankees had a chance to really break it open. A pitch inside. And that might have been really the biggest out of that World Series. That gave the Marlins the victory. That year, he and Ugi Urbina kind of split time as the closer. They are not holding Posada at first, and why would they? That run doesn't mean anything. In the count, 2-1. Tony Womack's on deck.
And as much as Tony struggled, this is probably one guy he liked to run up and face. He's done quite well against Looper. That's one you're kind of happy to get back if you're a pitcher. And the hitting woes of Tino, that points it out right now. Early in the year when he was hitting well and he got a pitch to hit like that, it was out of the ballpark. And there he got a hitter's pitch and fouled it straight back.
The difference in this ball game from the 5th spot on down in the Yankee lineup, Matsui on down, there's no hits and 2 walks.
Incredibly, with Tino's struggles of late, at last glance, he was still leading the American League for first base for the All-Star team. And that'll be in Detroit later in July. The 3-2. Drill deep to right field. Going back, Cameron on the track, looking up. See ya! 2-run home run for Tino Martinez. And the Yankees are not going quietly. Mets now lead 6-4.
Even when Tino's struggling, there's one pitch he can hit. And that's that high fastball. And Looper, not wanting to walk him, just threw it in there up in Tino's happy zone. And Rick Peterson after the mound in a sprint. Most left-handed hitters are good low inside, good low ball hitters. But Tino, going against the grain, is a good high fastball hitter. And he jumps on one here, and the Yankees have 2 runs following the base on balls to Jorge Posada. Well, there's a good overhead look from the blimp.
The last home run by Tino Martinez was on May 15th. It's been over a month, and that was in Oakland when he had 2. 13th home run of the year for Tino. So a quick conference for Rick Peterson, and Looper making Met fans sweat just a little bit. Here's Womack. Bunted, third base side, going to be a tough play. And Wright makes it. What a play by David Wright. And Roy White is arguing with Ed Rapuano, and so is Tony Womack.
Boy, when you see Roy White get that animated, Roy's pretty calm down there. It was a perfect bunt and a great play by David Wright. Ed Rapuano had the closest look. Nice bare hand pick. And a good stretch on the other end. And he made the right call.
That's some play by Wright.
Boy, it is.
Now, there used to be a third baseman at Ward number 5 who was capable of making that play. And
yeah,
Kitty played against him, and I played with him.
Final out, here's Derek Jeter. Womack 0 for 4 tonight. And there's a strike by Looper. Jeter's 2 for 3 with a walk, 2 runs scored, 10th home run of the year in the first inning. His 15th career leadoff home run. And the Yankees are down to their final strike. Crowd of 55,297 at Yankee Stadium. 12th sellout of the year. Most of them have hung around. Waste the pitch outside. And Jeter keeps it alive. A single to right field, and the Yankees will bring up the tying run. And boy, that run in the top of the 9th inning now looms very large.
What's new? A good at bat by Derek. He's down to his last strike. Looper, he got it in a pretty good spot, but in that defensive mode, Derek not going to get caught out front. Does a good job of slapping it the other way. And I tell you, this is not a bad guy to have coming up for the Yankees against Looper. Looper throws a lot of first pitch fastballs, and Cano has shown that he can center that fastball pretty well.
Cano 0 for 4. He has an 11-game hitting streak on the line. And there's a strike, so he doesn't start him off with the fastball then. Pedro Martinez must be thinking, here we go again. He turns the game over to the bullpen, and they make it sweaty. Going to be a tough play. Marlon Anderson charges, fires, got him. And the Mets win the game 6-4. So the first game of the second edition of this year's Subway Series goes to the Mets. Pedro Martinez pitched 8 brilliant innings. The Yankees got sloppy in the second inning, and it cost them as the Mets beat them 6-4.
And a couple of nifty infield plays in the last inning, and Beltran's catch in the 8th inning. So the Mets got the better of everything. They pitched a little better, they hit a little better, and they played better in the field.
And after the Yankees won the first 6 games of this road trip in a row, or homestand in a row, they've now lost 4 of their last 5. We've got so much more to come here on Yes. We'll come back, we'll give out the awards. You got the post-game show, the whole gang's here, so stick around.